Good evening, visitors, and welcome to the Australian War Memorial's Last Post ceremony. My name is Sharon Bown, and joining us today from the Royal Australian Navy is Lieutenant Commander Jed Goggin. We warmly welcome Brigadier General Alan Pepper, Commanding General, United States Army Security Assistance Command, and the accompanying delegation. Mr. Robert Owen, National President of the National Service and Combined Forces Association of Australia Incorporated, and members of the Gosford City and Newcastle sub-branch, who are also in attendance this evening. Mr. Ron Brandy, National President of the National Servicemen's Association, and all members of the National Servicemen's Association who are in attendance. We welcome the veterans who have served, those that are still serving, and the families that love and support them. The live stream of this ceremony is made possible by the Returned and Services League of Australia and the RSL and Services Clubs Association. We welcome members who are watching the broadcast of this ceremony across Australia. During this evening's ceremony, wreaths will be laid at the base of the pool of reflection by visitors to the memorial. If you are able, would you now please stand and join in singing the national anthem. Those requiring a seat, please be seated. The Australian War Memorial was the vision of Charles Bean, Australia's First World War official historian. Bean landed with the Australian troops on Gallipoli and stayed with them at the front through to the end of the war. The idea of this national memorial and museum came to him at Pozières, France, in the depths of the bloody fighting of 1916. Bean's idea was that this would be a place where families and friends could mourn loved ones buried in faraway places. It would also be a place that could help all Australians understand what these men and women had endured and what they had done for us. Bean's vision, to which we remain true, is best described as inscribed in the entrance to the memorial's galleries. Here is their spirit, in the heart of the land they loved, and here we guard the record which they themselves made. Tonight we will read the story behind just one of those on the Roll of Honour, which lists the names of more than 103,000 men and women who have given their lives for us in war and on operations for more than a century. But first, we present a lament, Flowers of the Forest. Wreaths and floral tributes will now be laid at the base of the pool of reflection.
Today we remember and pay tribute to Lieutenant Leslie Norman Ward, MC. Leslie Ward was born in Charleville, Queensland on the 12th of April 1893. He was the third son of James, William and Sarah Ann Ward. Little is known of his early life, but by the time the First World War began, he was a partner in a sheep shearing contract company and was a highly regarded wool classer. Ward enlisted in Brisbane on the 26th of July 1915. After his initial training, he was allotted to the 2nd Reinforcements to the 31st Battalion. He embarked from Brisbane with other reinforcements on the 3rd of January 1916 aboard the troop ship Kyara, bound for Egypt. When he arrived in Egypt in March, Ward was transferred to the 47th Battalion, which was then forming as part of the doubling of the AIF. Leslie Ward was promoted to corporal. The 47th Battalion arrived in France in early June. After a brief period in the front lines of the nursery sector, the battalion moved south to Pozières. The 47th took part in their first major battle when tasked with defending the ruined village of Pozières against German counterattacks. On the 12th of August, Ward suffered a shrapnel wound and was evacuated, but returned to his battalion the following day. He was wounded again on the 1st of September, which was the day that the 47th Battalion was being relieved from the front line. The wound was in his ankle and took some time to heal. It was not until the 28th of November that he returned to his unit. The winter of 1916 to 1917 was the coldest on record at that point. The 47th Battalion spent that time rotating in and out of the front line. On the 11th of January 1917, Ward was promoted to sergeant. His next major actions were the disastrous Battle of Bullecourt in April, followed by Mézines in June. In early July, Ward was sent to No. 5 Officer Training Cadet Battalion in Cambridge, England, where he passed the course. On the 3rd of November, Ward was commissioned as a second lieutenant and returned to France soon after. When the Germans launched their spring offensive, known as Operation Michael, in March 1918, the 47th Battalion was in the thick of the fighting at Darnecourt. Ward was prominent in defeating the German attempt to break through in his area. His citation for the Military Cross reads, "At Darnecourt on April 5th, 1918, Lieutenant Ward displayed considerable gallantry in maintaining his post against very heavy odds during the whole period of the attack. Though put out of action temporarily by a bursting shell, he resumed duty and organised Company HQ details in a post, manned it with an anti-aircraft Lewis gun and fired point blank at the enemy and succeeded in keeping them off. He continued throughout the day, took part in a counterattack with credit, and fell exhausted when the objective was reached." His award was announced in the London Gazette on the 26th of July. 3 days later, Ward was promoted to lieutenant. He transferred to the 48th Battalion the following month, when the 47th was disbanded. Ward's first action with the 48th Battalion was at the Battle of Armayon, which began on the 8th of August. After returning from a short period of leave in England on the 15th of September, Ward wrote a letter to his parents. "We are doing okay and move up to take over the trenches tonight. We do a big attack in a few days, I think. Oh well, I sincerely hope that my usual luck sticks to me through this show." It would be his last letter home. Accompanying the letter was a portrait photograph that is displayed by the Pool of Reflection this afternoon. 4 days later, the 48th Battalion attacked the Hindenburg Line near Belenlies. The battalion captured several key trenches and fought off a number of German counterattacks. It was during the afternoon of the 19th of September that he was killed. According to one eyewitness, Ward was seated in a recently captured enemy trench when a shell burst close alongside him. Splinters struck him in the head and chest, causing his death to be instantaneous. His body was brought to battalion headquarters where it was buried. Deepening the tragedy, it was found to have been a British shell, fired in support of a nearby attack that had killed him. It was also the last battle fought by the 48th Battalion in the war. His remains were later reinterred at the Gina Corps Communal Cemetery Extension. He was 25 years old. His name is listed on the Roll of Honour on my right, amongst almost 62,000 Australians who died while serving in the First World War. His photograph is displayed today beside the pool of reflection. This is but one of many stories of service and sacrifice told here at the Australian War Memorial. We now remember Lieutenant Leslie Norman Ward, MC, who gave his life for us, for our freedoms, and in the hope of a better world.
Please stand for the reading of the Ode and the sounding of the last post.
They shall grow not old, as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun, and in the morning, we will remember them. Lest we forget.
We leave you this evening with the words of the memorial's founder, Charles Bean. Many a man lying out there at Pozières or in the low scrub at Gallipoli, with his poor, tired senses barely working through the fever of his brain, has thought in his last moments, well, it's over. But in Australia, they will be proud of this. Ladies and gentlemen, girls and boys, that concludes the last post ceremony. On behalf of the director, staff and volunteers, Thank you for visiting the Australian War Memorial today. We wish you all a very pleasant evening. Thank you.